All right, hi everybody, it's Kay Kaltoff and I'm so excited to be here. I have been stamping since 2007 and I stamped all the time. And actually I've been stamping since 2000, but I became a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator in 2007. And stamping was a huge part of my life all the time, all the way up until 2021. And that's when my dad passed away. And I knew I would be inheriting the farm. That had all been taken care of a long time before he had passed away. So I knew my life was going to change quite a bit. And it did. And so once I moved out to the farm in May of 2022, I was a little overwhelmed and I knew I had to take some time off. So I did. And I have not done a Facebook Live for my customers, for you, on my page. I don't know, it could be since May of 2022. So, big changes in my life, as many of you know, and luckily I have the most loyal and dedicated customer base. I can't even believe it, but my sales have actually, I mean, of course they've gone down, but they haven't suffered as much as I thought they would. And so, first and foremost, a big thank you to all of my customers, a huge thank you to all of my downline for all the joy they have brought to my life during this in-between period, I'll call it. So let me just take a quick peek at my messages here. And just to let you know how I'm going to do this is I will do this Facebook Live today with you. And then I'm going to clean it up just a little bit and I will put it on YouTube because some of my customers are not on Facebook. And so I will do a premiere on YouTube tomorrow morning. That's Wednesday, August 2nd at 10 a.m. Central. And then I can, we can comment back and forth and I'll be there for you. So if you actually are missing this Facebook Live, you're welcome to join me tomorrow morning at my YouTube premiere. And so I just basically replay the Facebook Live tomorrow morning and then I can comment and things like that before it actually goes up for everybody else. Okay, everybody, I'm going to give you a little tour. Oh, excuse the flies. I live on a farm now, so there's always flies. I'm going to give you a little tour of what my stamping area looks like. And you'll notice it's not decorated very much, and that is because we have not painted this room yet. Some of the rooms in the old farmhouse we've repainted, and some of them are still the old paneling from the 1960s, 1970s, and various remodels that we've done through the years. And so this is very undecorated at the moment, but we don't paint in the summer. That is a fall and winter project. So I am going to flip the camera around now and start giving you the tour. I'm really excited about this. First thing I am going to show you is my desk. So this is the same desk I had when I was living in the Twin Cities, and yeah, it's just the same old, same old. That's all the same. That's where I've always done my Facebook Lives. So I mean, this is a pretty familiar setup to me. I just kind of recreated it here at the farm. And then over here to the left, I have some things that I use quite a bit. Now, one thing about the farm is not too many outlets. And so we have to have these big kind of floor standing outlets with tons of plug-ins. And then we basically have extension cords running all over the place because that's just sort of how it is out here, not a lot of plug-ins. But over here, oh, and I'll talk about this at the end of the video. So if you want to know what that is, just stay tuned until the end. But over here I have my work in progress. Since I'm out here at the farm, I sort of have to run back and forth a lot between here and my home in the Twin Cities, and then also I do a lot of running back and forth to the cabin up at Leech Lake. And so I like to take, if I have a lot of work or if I have a lot of things due, I actually take my files with me. So those are my file boxes and I'm accessing them all day long. This is my drawer that I keep handy right here next to my desk with all of my adhesives in. I set this up with good intentionality of doing a Facebook Live much sooner than this, but I'll start getting into that later. My next drawer, you guys know on Facebook Lives, I always put the measurements, and so that's where I keep all of the measurements to do that. And then down here are my Stampin' Up! Catalogs. And as long as I'm just giving you a tour, these are all of my binders for my household projects and farm projects and different things. This little wastebasket has got a lot of memories for me because it used to sit on my mom's side of the bed. So you got to remember, I'm at my home place, so I'm seeing lots of things here that give me all kinds of memories from my past. So I had to keep that wastebasket. My mom had allergies, and so it's always full of Kleenexes. And then down here, just, I don't know, what do I have in here? I guess it's the cords. And then in here I have my Stampin' Up! Welcome card for my new customers. And then this is where I keep my extra Happy Stamper token things. And so I cannot access on my big, let me just show you a wide view of this area, but I actually cannot access this drawer or this cabinet here. And I'm a little sad about that, but you know what? It just makes me only put things in there that, you know, I don't need to access very often. So this big cabinet piece actually used to be a room divider in a different room. And then they were doing a little remodeling and they decided to take it out as a room divider and put it in this room. And so it used to hold all of the encyclopedias. I'm sure many of you remember encyclopedias. In fact, they're all down the basement. I will be getting rid of them because now if I need to look up something, I Google it like everybody does. And so those are going to go away. But that's where we used to keep all the encyclopedias. And we had many sets. We had a regular set, we had a children's set, we had an aviation set because my dad was really into aviation. Yeah, there was a lot of stuff in this cabinet. But now it holds my Stampin' Up! Stuff. So I'll just open up. And actually having these glass doors is really nice because it kind of keeps the dust off things, because it's really dusty here at the farm, and the old windows and everything, they let in a lot of dust. So up here I have all of my punches, and then I have 2 rows of current stamp sets, and I have to go through that because I'll be getting a whole bunch more stamp sets from the pre-order, and I'll be placing that order very early tomorrow morning. And so I need to take some things out of there that I know I won't be using for a while. And then down here, I just have all of my Stampin' Up! Embellishments so that they're easy to access. And then this is, you know, we get little pins from Stampin' Up! Through the years. This is from my dad. But I have all of my Stampin' Up! Pins in here. And my mother used to collect this carnival glass. And we got rid of all of the pieces except for that one. And we actually got rid of that a long time ago already. And then, of course, my little Minnesota plaque. I love my state of Minnesota. My little Thailand jar. I use this at my demo meetings for drawings when I do a group-wide drawing. So I'm going to shut that up. The only problem with these glass, what do you call them? I don't know. They're like little covers for this cabinet. They squeak a lot. So certain times of the year squeak more than others. But up here is all of my ribbon, which is super fun. And then I have my little McCoy cookie jar from the 1970s. It says, "Have a happy day," and I love it because it's got a big smiley face on, which, as you know, smiley faces are pretty special to me. And then down here I have all of the Stampin' Up! Organization pieces with my blends at the bottom, and then I have my ink pads, my markers, and then of course all of my ink refills. And this just works brilliantly. I absolutely love it. I'm so glad Stampin' Up! Came out with organizing systems for your ink pads and markers and all of that. They're very reasonably priced, and I just It's just made a world of difference for me. All right, don't mind the squeakiness. And then this this whole cabinet section, the 4 drawers and things that I do use is pretty handy. So just got office supplies in here. Oh, and then these are the blends that don't really fit with my other blends. These are all of the natural toned Stampin' blends. And then I keep my Wink Estella in there too. So that is that. This is probably the only time you guys are ever going to get a sneak peek into my drawers. Here's where I keep my blocks and more blocks. And then twine and things like that. And then in this drawer, I have extra glue bottles. Those are ones that are like almost empty. And sometimes I just never get around to using those. I probably should toss them. And then just various binders and things like that. And down here, one thing I do that I really like, oh, I should show you. If I can lift it, hold on. So I keep card bases really handy. So I have landscape style, and then I have portrait style. And so I just divide them up by color families, and it works really well for me. And that way I don't have to cut a card base, because usually I can find one in here. So when I'm stamping, it's just really easy for me to grab that. So I've done that for years, and I'm sure I've shown it on a previous video, but I just haven't shown it in a while, so I thought I would show that. And what else do we have down here? Oh, I keep a very full bucket of envelopes. These are like used, what do you call these? Used cellos. I have some cards that I give to customers. These are retired cards, so I don't typically send retired cards, but sometimes I do a promotion with my customers where if they purchase during a free shipping day or something like that, I'll give them extra cards. And sometimes I don't have that many current cards on hand, so I'll pull from my retired stash. And then of course all my extra adhesives. All right, so that is that. This is where I keep my Facebook Live camera stand, so I'll be using that starting, well, I might actually use it this week. I'm not sure if I'll get my order in time before I leave for Leech Lake or not. And also, just in case you guys are asking questions, I'll have to go back in and check the comments, because I don't see those things on the phone when I'm walking around. So here is what my office looks like walking into it from the kitchen. And you might notice there's like a little tile road going through this room. And that is because when we did a big remodel back in the late 70s, yes, they decided to add a garage to our house. And they couldn't put the garage where the kitchen is, and they didn't want to move the kitchen. So the garage ended up going through my dad's office, or on the side of the house where my dad's office, which was super convenient for my dad. However, you know how it is, people come in the house and they want to go right into the kitchen. So my mom didn't want everybody just tracking the carpet down, so she decided we would create a little tile way from the garage into the kitchen. And that's actually really worked. It's one of my favorite quirky parts of this house. All right, so here is my little bookcase from when I was a kid, and I always used to keep my Laura Ingalls Wilder books in there. And then my kids had it, and they kept the, I don't know, what was that one with the vampires? They kept all those books in there. So that was the difference between me and my kids. I read Laura Ingalls Wilder, and my kids all read those really popular vampire books from the middle of the 2000s. I can't remember what the name of that series was, but I read them all too. They were pretty good. There's a painting my daughter painted, so I love that. And then of course my little Stampin' Up! Bear, I'll have him forever. This was way back when Stampin' Up! Did Build-A-Bear at one of the conventions back in the, I don't know, it's probably like 2008, 2009, 2010, something like that. just some more cards and different things that I use. I have extra embellishments that I give away as prizes. I have some retired embellishments that I will also give away as prizes to my customers. I have some more envelopes, and this is my Stampin' Emboss cut storage area. And then over here, I'll show you this side of the room. This looks a little more cluttered. Yes, it does. That's okay. I've made it work. So I've got my dad was a big duck hunter, so there's lots of ducks in this house. So that's one of his duck hunting panels that we put up. And this is my parents' 25th anniversary cabinet. My brother and I finally cleaned it out, so thank God for that. He and his wife thankfully took about half of the stuff, so I was left with the other half, which I've kind of kept on these bottom two shelves. And then the top two shelves are kind of my shelves, and so I can display some really pretty card making things in there. And then up here I have more card making things. Just pretty displays that make me happy when I walk by them. My dad was really into nature, so like every picture in this house practically is a nature picture. And then here is where I keep my little Stampin' Up! Tote. Again, this was a gift I had. It wasn't actually a gift, I purchased it, but it was from one of the conventions way back, way back, probably 2011, 2012, something like that. And I've basically used it ever since. It's really been a sturdy, wonderful product. So that's what, when I'm taking projects back and forth to different places, that's what I grab. And then down here I have my, my mail drop basket. So when I come in and don't want to deal with the mail, I shove it in there. And I usually go through that about once a week. And then I have this is actually a really wonderful thing that we brought to the farm, and it is an air filter that is just really good, especially when we were having all those wildfire smoke. That really helped, and it also helps keep the dust down, and there's so much dust in this house, and I really feel like it does a good job with that. Then, in order to create a cutting station, because I really didn't have anything for how to make that work, I took two bookcases. These were my kids' homeschool bookcases, and we put them back to back. So I do have spaces on each side to store binders or to store card making things. And then the top is my cutting station. And I can't keep my designer series paper in this room. Well, I probably could, but I choose not to because it just gets so cluttered. So on any paper that I'm working with, which right now I happen to be working with Earth and Elegance for some cards that I'm going to make for my team in August, I can just keep it right here in this. This is a really cool thing that I bought years and years ago. And then this is just my normal cutting station. This is where I do all my cutting. Yes, and you do not see a Stampin' Up! Cutter because I just find it, I love it up at the cabin where I'm making one card at a time, but I so rarely make one card at a time. I'm making like 16 or 20 cards at a time, and I like to cut my paper like in groups of 5. So this is just my time-saving cutters as a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator that I really need. All right, and then over here, I have another little Stampin' display thing that I bought at a Stampin' Up! Convention years ago with the make and takes that my downline did this past month. And then I have my Simply Scored Stampin' tool right here. So use that every day, pretty much. And then I do lots of mailing. So I finally went ahead and got a label maker. That has been a game changer. Oh my gosh, I didn't realize how much time I wasted taping onto my packages, and now it's just so fast and quick. I love it. Here is the reason I can work from the farm. I have fiber internet out here, which my dad would just drop over if he knew. He'd probably turn in his grave. He wasn't really big on the new stuff. He was big on technology when he was young, but then I think he settled into his routines and didn't like change as he got older. And then, of course, again, we have the cord problem. So this is my dad's desk from the 1970s, I think. And there's just no place for cords. So we got the big, I don't know, the big gator box where you put all your plug-ins for cords, and then look at all the cords just sitting on my desk. There's just no way to really hide it. We'd have to really reconfigure all of this in order to make that work. But I'll show you here what I've got going on. My dad was, in addition to being a real nature lover, he was also crazy about kitties. So a lot of the decorations that are still up in this room, including the antlers and the pheasants and the geese and the ducks, those are still from my dad. I haven't taken them down, but it makes me happy to look at them, so I leave them up. And then here I have different cards that either I've made or my team members have made, and that's always kind of fun to have those on display. Makes me happy. And then over here, this is where I keep cards that I'm going to be sending to my customers when they place orders, and then, you know, just everything kind of at my fingertips up here for whatever I need. And I like to decorate different things with bows, so I keep a whole container of bows handy. And again, my dad raised Canadian honkers back in the 60s, 70s, and 80s, so he would often get gifts with Canadian honkers on, and so that's why I have that there. And then this is the ginormous computer that I work at, which is really handy. My scale for weighing things. Yeah, just the usual stuff that you would see in an office. Where do I keep my cardstock from Stampin' Up? You might be wondering. It's right here. So that's pretty handy too. So that's all alphabetized. I don't do the rainbow color because then I argue with myself. I spend all this time arguing with myself which goes where and is that really the right way to do it and blah, blah, blah. And I find it to be a waste of time for me. My brain thinks better alphabetically or chronologically. So that's what I do. So everybody has to do what works the best for them. Then what else do I want to show you? Oh, I don't need to show you all this. It's just mostly office supplies down here. All right, and then over here I have the mail station. So right as soon as this video is over, I'm going to walk out to the mailbox, which is a 1/4 mile. So I get a 1/2 mile walk twice a day for sure, because I always walk out to the mailbox and then walk back from the mailbox and then walk out to the mailbox to get the mail and walk back from the mailbox. So I'm getting my exercise in. This is just an old microwave stand that I keep right here by the back door. And of course my back door is a mess because it's never been painted. Again, that's something we'll probably do, I don't know, sometime this fall or winter. But all those magnets, that just kind of keeps me on track. So when I walk out the door, I remember what I need to bring up to Leech or to Lino or wherever I'm going. And then this cute little thing, this is the little desk that I had when I was a little girl. So my dad had his desk and I had my desk. And I think I believe it was my mother's desk made by her dad. And my mother was born in 1938. So the reason that desk looks so old is because it is so old. And I also have matching tables and a matching table and chairs in my other room that match this whole little desk. So that's all set up for my grandkids when they come over. This is kind of the view out to my yard. We have a lot of mowing here on the yard, so yeah, that's a lot of work. And in fact, this whole area does need to be mowed. I see a lot of dandelions that have popped up. So, but that's just one portion. We have equally large yard spaces. So this is looking south. We have equally large yard spaces going to the east, to the west, and to the north, because our home place sits in the very center of this big lawn island. So it takes probably 12 to 14 hours if I were to do everything at one time, which I don't. I do it in small bursts. And then as I walk in from the garage, this is what it looks like to walk into my office. And these boxes down here, in case you're wondering what those are, I don't even think there's anything in them. They kind of hide a bunch of cords. Oh, some old Stampin' Up! Tin boxes. I don't even know what that is. Oh, and when Stampin' Up! Has a sale and I can buy extra Whisper White, did I just say Whisper White? I can buy extra basic white. That's where I keep my extras, in this box. And I think that's it. I think that is the tour. I do have a few heirlooms, which I've pointed out. This is another heirloom. This table was made in Germany and was brought over on a ship and then brought over to Missouri on a steamer ship and then left at Miller's Landing in Missouri when my great grandparents, I think, came over from Germany. So that's been in the family an awfully long time. So we have a lot of history associated with this place. So anyway, I think, oh, and I know you want to know what's going on in my jars here. So let me flip the camera. I am going to tell you, one of the things that I've loved doing since I've gotten back to the home place is I love doing sourdough and making kombucha. So I am bottling up my kombucha today for my second ferment. So I'm going to show you what that looks like because I have the most wonderful SCOBY. I'm so proud of it. And then I also do sourdough bread making. And so I make all of my own breads. So, you know, sourdough cookies, sourdough buns, sourdough bread. So I started my sourdough this morning and I wanted to show it to you. And I am going to see this. I am going to put the camera down just for a second so I can get this over here to the light. So oh, look at how pretty that looks. So give me a second. Alrighty, so here is my sourdough. Yeah, the jar's not real exciting, but it's starting to bubble up. Can you see that? So I only started it about an hour ago, and once it gets, so where that first rubber band is towards the bottom, once the sourdough gets to the second rubber band, that's when I know I can start putting it into my bread mix, and then it sits on the counter pretty much all day, stretches, folds, and then I'll put it in the refrigerator overnight, and then I'll bake it tomorrow morning. And then this is my kombucha. So this kind of crazy looking thing on the top is called a SCOBY. Look at that. Oh my God, it's so, to me, this is so beautiful. Everybody else is probably looking at it going, oh, gross. But it's super beautiful to me. I love it. And I've even shared one of the baby SCOBYs with my neighbor, and she's coming over today and bringing me some herbs for my garden. So I'm excited about seeing her. Her name is Jan, and she's just a wonderful neighbor. We just get along so good. I just wish we could spend even more time together than we do. All right, so that is, let me flip the camera again. I'm very sorry I wasn't able to see comments and answer questions, but I felt like, you know what, I just want to give you a tour of my office space so you can sort of see. So when I sit down to do an unboxing, either later this week or early next week, you will kind of know what I'm working with and how it's going. But I really am excited to be back doing Facebook Lives. My plan is to do them every week, and I was thinking about changing the day and doing it like maybe on a Wednesday, because I know I'm always at the farm on Wednesday, but Wednesdays are also good days for me to run to town, and Thursdays are out because that's the local farmers market, so I always like to do that. And then I thought, well, should I change the time? So I decided not to change the date, so they're going to be on Tuesdays, unless I'm doing something like an unboxing or something. And then I thought, well, should I change the time to like afternoon or evening so more people can watch live? Because I know I always pick 10 a.m. Central, and that's not a very good time. There's lots of people working. But I tell you what, I chose not to because, like, no, I gotta have my second cup of coffee with you all. And so that's why I'm keeping it all at the same time. 10 o'clock on Tuesdays. And for sure, see you next week at 10 o'clock on Tuesday. Otherwise, hopefully, maybe I'll see you at an unboxing either later this week before I head up to Leech, or possibly early next week if that doesn't work out. We haven't gotten internet yet up at Leech. We're supposed to get that in this weekend. So then I can even like do lives up at Leech. It'll be so fun. Bye everybody. Love you. Take care.